actually worked at Kinbrace for 1.5 years, but I have a story. I have my own story to tell because I'm actually a refugee claimant myself, and I actually went through the same process that a lot of refugee claimants have gone through, and I have a lived experience of how traumatizing it can be if you don't have that kind of support. I'm originally from Kenya. I came through the US border. It was very hard times because it was during COVID times. Basically, the borders were closed, so it wasn't easy for me to be allowed, to come into Canada, even if I had eligibility. I went into quarantine, and during that quarantine I had a very difficult time because I was told that I needed to pick up a phone and call organizations, because after the 14 days quarantine that immigration took care of, they were actually going to throw me into the streets. They didn't have any more obligation of providing accommodation for me. And that was really very traumatizing because I didn't know anybody, I didn't have anywhere to go, I didn't even know where to start on my refugee claim. And the days started going on and counting down, to like 3 days to my being thrown out to the streets. In a lot of places they were closed because of COVID, or they were stretched out. And but like I said, 3 days later I got a call from Kinbrace, and they gracefully took me in, and I stayed here for quite a number of days in the transitional homes. I got a lot of support for that, and it was sad for me when I had to leave. Kinbrace, found accommodation for me, but I was still quite reluctant, to move on because I had started to feel so homely here. So I can relate with other refugee claimants that have to transition to other places. I was lucky because I got a family that was very accommodative in the terms of welcoming, the suffering, the persecution, possible persecution that they may having, the harassment, all that. So it was tough, I should say. But Kinbrace did the best they could, and like few months after I left, there was an advertisement about this position, but I actually didn't get to know about it. My family that I live with, actually told me about it, and luckily I had shared with them about my background, and they said you could be a good fit. Why don't you make an application? And that's how I got employed at Kinbrace. Yeah, I'm a community development worker with economics background, so I did a lot of work with vulnerable, with groups of people with vulnerabilities back in Africa. It was a good space for me, and I'm so grateful that I'm actually able to actually apply part of my experience and academic qualifications into this work.